This is Noman here. I am pre-sales specialist in Redington Gulf. Redington, those who don't know, we are the value-added distributors for HPE, and we tend to like design solutions for many of the partners or even for the end customers. We help from the POC perspective, from the solution design perspective, and from the demonstration perspective and to create a solution based on the customer's requirement for the partners itself. Plus also we also facilitate partners for the credits and for the financial capabilities and stuff like that. So today's discussion is on a very hot topic going on nowadays, especially after this post-pandemic period, where people are or the end customers are like focusing on reserving the cash, improving the cash flows, and talking about how we can avail the IT infrastructure, because the IT is going on as a big challenge now because of this new sort of workloads coming up into the picture, that VDI and digital learning. So many of the verticals are going on and stressing on the IT, but also there's a constraint regarding the budgets and all. So how we can go on the OPEX model? So HP is basically working on this model since long. I'll show you in my slides as well in a later stage in the presentation. And now the concept is from HP side to go everything as a service. And during this time, we would be discussing how the model works and how we can avail that and what value this particular model is bringing onto the table. Before starting, I would just like to emphasize on HPE's vision and focus and how the HPE works. HPE basically works on three important principles. One, they believe that people are the most important resources for any of the organization, and when it combines with the technology, like the technology which innovates itself on a regular basis, and if we give like a proper economics, these are the three main ingredients for any of the business to grow and gain the competitive advantage. If we have the right technology to accelerate and innovate, or we have right people who are helping and best hardworking and creating a best value for the business, plus if we have a better economics, that would give us all a competitive advantage to your nature of business, to your segment of business. Now the point comes in when we talk about the competitive advantage over here. What burden is there on the IT infrastructure? Maybe the IT team might be thinking of to enhance from and to adopt some new technologies. How they can deliver faster the resources or the application performances. How we can deliver faster experience to the customer, and how we can enhance the customer experiences. Do we need something like called a cloud migration, or some of the applications, do we need some cloud migration or not? How we can increase the accelerated application development and the app data gap, and what are the challenges from the new sources of data like internet of things, how we can improve the uptime and performances. So all these challenges, all these questions are going on into the mind of the IT industry, because they have like a lot of burden from the performance perspective, that how we can leverage in the upcoming era. And this thing might be increasing in the near future. There will be a lot of like heavy lifting on the IT team for further and further going on. So now, what solution we can come up with that can reduce the lifting from the IT industry, and just make an ease that they can now focus on innovation rather than working on keeping the lights on of the data center. This, as per the survey, we have came up to hear from many of the customers that, and this is the summarization slide, what they actually want. They want something called a business agility. They want simpler IT. They also want to lower the cost, and they want to have a proper control of their data center. So if we talk about the public cloud over here, the public cloud provides lots of features like that, but there are some certain features which public cloud are unable to provide. For example, like business agility means that customers should be having adequate amount of resources available so that he can provision application faster, and whatever the new applications coming into the market as per the competitive advantage towards the and any of the business segment, the IT should be able to respond quite quickly, and would be able to respond faster in terms of resources, in terms of application, in terms of deployment, in terms of project completion. Plus, they also want to have the infrastructure simpler. They want to have like the infrastructure to be well respondent and easy to troubleshoot, and everything should be there in their control. This infrastructure should be also on the lower side of the cost. They would not be investing much of the cost in this infrastructure, and they must be having a proper control. Like they want to know what is my forecast for the upcoming months, and how I can be compliant with security compliance and whatever the third party certification is required for my data center. Security is one of the major compliance. So this thing, we need a proper control. So the point is that we have summarized the pain points and or the challenges of the customers, and we would be seeing throughout this presentation how we're gonna address these challenges to meet all those requirements which we discussed in the previous slide. 61% of the companies are accelerating an innovation and going through everything as a service. So that means that everything as a service means that the consumption of IT, the IT infrastructure, if we talk about data centers, if we talk about all those resources, servers and switches and whatever the infrastructure is required, now it is available as a service option. What actually this would give you? This would give you a pay per use experience. That means that you would be using, or you would be consuming whatever you are consuming. You are paying only for the consumption. You are not paying for the hardware. You are not paying for the firmware upgrades. You are not paying for something which is sitting in the data center and not been utilized. That comes to a second point. That means that scale as needed. That means that you are only scaling when actually it is needed to be scaled, and this would increase your business agility. That means that you would be having a resource which is sitting in the data center, and you would have to only pay for that if you consume that. That means that you have like adequate amount of resources sitting in the data center, and you would only be paying if you're consuming, and this would increase your business agility. That means that you have resources. You don't need to run across the procurement cycle once again. Plus, the additional things which you are getting over here is the choice and flexibility. You know that your applications are sitting on what sort of resources, what sort of data center, and for example, you know that my application is sitting on HPE's DL380 servers or DL360 servers. I know that how the storages are connected to the server, and how the particular things are working on, and HPE is there because all infrastructure is available as a service. So I know that my application is under the reliable hands, and I know that on what hardware my application is actually sitting. Unlike public cloud, you actually don't know where when and what hardware your application has been sitting. This would simplify your operations, obviously, because you have the data center layers under your control, and you know that few of the applications which are native to the cloud, or few of the applications that don't need any internet connectivity. So this thing which is in your control now, unlike public cloud that you have to like have all the applications sitting next to the internet. This would obviously increase your speed time to market, because you are shedding the burdens of the IT team, and IT team would be much more relaxed and focusing on some other operations or some other projects. So that would definitely increase the speed time to market, because you would be focusing on business more rather than keeping the data center up and running. So we have seen in the previous slide that how the consumption based IT approach like addresses all those challenges which we discussed in the beginning of the presentation. We can give you faster value by accelerating app and service deployment. we can give you fuel innovation. That means that you can free up your people and to do their best work, to do their more innovation, to create value to the business. And we would give you the cloud like economics. That means that no upfront payment, and there is a variable cost of what you are consuming. Hence, you are reducing or you are eliminating the cost of over provisioning. Plus, you would having a proper control. That means that you know what is your infrastructure actually is. You can manage performance. You can check the latency risk and cost and all. And obviously, if you have a proper control, you can do some optimization and reduce the cost as well. So moving forward, we see the more value in this particular slide discussing on the monetizing of the existing value to fund innovation. It might be like somewhere around you can extract value by having the existing legacy systems to be fund for the new investment. That means, for example, like you have a budget approved, okay, and instead of using or utilizing all those budget into the infrastructure, you can go for as a service option where you can contain your cash flow and can and utilize those budgets in some other funds. So here this can be a very much viable solution where you are reserving your capital, your budget, and going as a service option. Accelerate transaction with support and protection from data security and environment and regulatory risk. This I think everybody should agree that there are like many of the customers who has a concern or that their data center should be complied with many of the specific bodies of regularization or certification. So public cloud don't provide that, so we have to use our own data center which has been already been complied with all those special certifications. Now we discuss on the consumption based model. The consumption based model, the branding name is called it is called HPE GreenLake, which delivers the as a service experience to you. How it would delivers? Basically, it divided into three parts. It is a self service, it is pay per use, and it is managed for you. That means that you would be getting your applications on and your cloud like experience on your terms and conditions, your way, in your data center, and you would be having a complete cloud like experience, like no upfront cost or pay per use, pay elastically. If you're using, if you're consuming more, then you have to pay accordingly. If you're consuming less, you have to pay accordingly to that. So all those cloud-like features, cloud-like goodies you are getting in your data center on your terms, on your certified data center, instead of going to the public cloud. We have different sort of workloads available as a service option. There are like plenty of other workloads coming up on a daily basis. So these are the most common ones which we normally used to which we are normally used to of selling it. So example, like if you talk about storages, so we have all storages available and on as a service option. The idea is that what we say that you have to reduce the price of over provisioning, the cost of over provisioning. That means that you don't buy a storage if you know that you would be consuming that particular storage in 5 years. So don't buy a storage of 50 TB on day one. Okay, if you think that you would gradually reach to that 50 TB mark in the time span of 5 years, so just buy a storage which is adequate for on the day one and gradually reach that. How we gonna do that? I'll definitely discuss in the upcoming slides. The point over here, the key takeaway over here is that we support multiple amount of workloads. Either it's a storage workload, or if you talk about the compute, virtualization, private cloud, backup, SAP HANA, composable infrastructure, databases. How we gonna do that? For example, like we have a business application running up. So the business application might be using some of the infrastructure, might be using some of the infrastructure resources. We tend to have a local buffer on site that is available in your data center, and it is not been charged unless it has been used unless it has been consumed. So in the peak time where you have the seasonal data coming up, or seasonal requirement coming up, and your resources are increasing, so you have the leverage to use the buffer. So to increase the infrastructure resources, infrastructure capacity. So the forecasted capacity is in normal usage capacity, where you think that it would be normally utilized. So if the requirement increases, so you can leverage the additional buffer. And if the capacity decreases because of if the season is gone, if it is a minimum usage, then again it would go, the additional capacity would again be the part of the local buffer, and it would be available in the data center, but you would not be charged anything if you are not consuming that. So what we are getting over here, first of all, we can choose the technology what we want. If we want to have DL380 servers, DL360 servers, we can align the services to the business needs. If the business grows, we can use those resources. If the business is not growing, if the business is decreasing somehow, then we can use less resources. And we are only paying what we are consuming, and always have the capacity ahead of demand. That would increase your business agility. That means that you have the resources available. If your business increases, and if something goes like exceptionally additional, so that you have the capacity of already available in the data center, so you don't need to worry about that. This is one of the, again, the type of workloads which are available. We can build purpose built workloads, that if, for example, if we can provide you virtualization as a service, we can provide you database as a service, compute as a service, storage as a service, or a public cloud. We can also give you some co-location services, like if you are looking for a DR. So we have tie up with Equinix right now from the HPE side, so they can guide you up for how we can go for the co-location services, and how we can avail the HPE services for creating a DR for you guys. As we discussed in the beginning of the presentation, that there are four main points that would be, or the four objectives we can say, that is business agility, simplified IT, lower the IT cost, and greater control. How the GreenLake solution can address these challenges, or these objectives. Business agility, for business agility, we have already capacity ahead of demand, like a buffer is already been installed in the data center under the GreenLake umbrella. Simplified IT is like we are offloading the heavy lifting from the IT team, and it would be like as a managed services from the HPE side or from the partner side. Obviously, we are lowering the cost by reducing the over provisioning. What we say, that don't buy the 50 TB storage on day one if you need only 10 TB on day one, and gradually need a 50 TB. So don't buy 50 TB on day one, and just save the over provisioning cost like that. You will have obviously a greater control, because you know the technology, you choose your technology at your terms, and so you would have a control over the risk. That means that you would not be blind, that you don't know that on what application, on what hardware the application is sitting on, because you know that it is under my data center. I control a layer of the data center. I know that this application needs internet, this application needs a firewall, this application don't need a firewall. So it's things like that, you have a proper control. So now let's see this graphically, how actually it looks. This is the consumption of any of the organization, of any business. It is always a sinusoidal, because there are some peaks and troughs. There are some areas, there are some timelines where your resources increases on a daily basis, and there are some times, some areas where you feel that the business is decreasing, and or the demand is decreasing. So this is the traditional buying behavior, the purple line. That is like we normally have a transaction or a procurement cycle somewhere around like a per quarter, or in 6 months. So, but the thing over here is that there is a huge gap between your usage, that is the green line, and the transaction and the procurement, that is the purple line. So you are the gap between those two lines is something called an over provisioning. That means that let's again like recollect our example, that again you're doing, that you are buying a 50 TB storage, and your usage is 20 TB storage, and that 20 TB is gradually reaching to 50 TB on a particular time span, like for example 2 to 3 years, or 4 years, or 5 years. And the one more challenge over here is that when the demand increases, you realize that you have already been consumed 80% of the storage. So now you have to make another transaction. Again, you pay for the over provisioning. So what we say is that we work parallel to the customer. We install local buffers on different time spans, and we make sure that we maintain that particular 10% of a buffer. Minimum 10% is required, and we work parallel with the customer, that so that you would be having some savings of over provisioning. You don't need to have the purple line, and you have the upfront cost and stuff like that. You would be having only you are consuming, you have to pay only for that. So in this way, we have the capacity ahead of demand to maintain a safe buffer capacity. 50% of experience downtime due to the capacity planning. This would obviously help you in getting your resources up and running and reduce the downtime like that. And obviously, we will be having some minimum commitment level or the reserved capacity, that you know that minimum, this is my minimum usage per month. So this is how we are addressing now our faster value, simplified IT, cloud economics, and a proper control. Last but not the least, we would be providing you the complete metering system, that is called the consumption analytics portal, that is included in the solution free of cost without any licensing. If you are the part of the GreenLake contract, you would be getting this GreenLake HPE consumption analytics portal. That would give you proper visibility. First of all, visibility in terms of resources, what is consumed, what you can consume, and it would be giving you a proper dashboard and plus also self service reporting as well, that these are the resources which are consumed, these are the resources which can be consumed in the upcoming months. That would give you the control. That has to manage the cost and usage via budget. It would set some alerts, some customization insights, and also it would give you a proper control, that how you can manage the cost. It would give you capacity planning, because that would ensure that the capacity you need for the workload is available, so that because you know your workload much more better, and you have to just understand that what actual capacity I may need to run this workload. And if you have all those information, obviously you can play around and come up with very good optimization, that I can reduce my usage, and hence I can reduce my cost. I can set some new thresholds. I can do it like that, because I know that these are my forecasts. I know that my workload would go in the month of January. I know that how big my workload would go in the month of February, and so on and so forth. So this solution is not new. This idea is not new into the industry. There are like many of the other players as well who are working in the consumption portal, or the consumption model, we can say. HP is unique because HP is been delivering this consumption based analytics, or this consumption based model since like more than a decade now. We have like a long history of customers. We have a very good retention rate, and we have a rich partner ecosystems. If we talk about like third party like VMware, or if we talk about Commvault, if we talk about some data protection software. So we have a complete end-to-end cycle. Even though we also have the network as well, and we have the global expertise. Plus we have the financial strength as well. And HPE has a vision that by 2022 everything would be offered as a service option. That means that you would be having all portfolio of HPE available as a service. Now the slide which we saw previously, the amount of workloads which are there. So let's discuss in detail how these workloads can be consumed in as a service model. If we talk about the intelligent data platform, which is the storage platform of HPE, we can see that these storages can be consumed as a service. If we talk about 3PAR, Nimble, StoreOne's, Primera, if you want all flash arrays, or if you want standard arrays, if you want general purpose storages, so this can be consumed as a service, rather than going and buying a storage. If you want to consume it on the time span of 5 years. So this is an ideal example of getting it on as a service model, and reducing the over provisioning cost drastically. This can be also performance tuned. You can also avail HPE's services that would guide you up, guys, that what amount of storage is required for a particular application. It can be like also like we provide something called active capacity management, that would give you the storage capacity ahead of demand sort of thing. Plus we already have a local buffer which is present on site, so don't need to worry about that. And secondly, we have something called the compute. That is the famous compute of HPE, where we have DL380 servers, DL360 servers. Even though our Blade servers are also available on as a service model, which again comes up with the HPE OneView, and the consumption based billing is also available. Optionally, it can be operated by HPE or the partner, if or the end customer if needed. Then we have our virtualization solutions that is offered as a service. That is we can provide HPE SimpliVity along with the 3-par storages, or any other storages we want, and plus the VMware software. All the things are available on consumption based offering, and we can also work on the right sides configuration along with HPE or along with the partner itself. We also provide high performance computing for like graphic intensive workloads. Like if you see in the picture, we have something like a medical staff going on. So you know that it's a very hot industry going on nowadays. So we provide the complete Apollo clusters required for dense performance computing, along with the HPC infrastructure software, everything available as a consumption pay per use option. And obviously, it can be managed by the partner, can be managed by you, can be managed by HPE, depending on what sort of contract you want to go with. Then there are customers who are using Microsoft Azure, and also want to have enhance their experiences in when we talk about the hybrid cloud. So we have Microsoft Azure Stack that is completely certified from the HPE side, installed on the ProLine servers, and this complete solution is available as a service, and can be like available as from the HPE side. You'll be getting a single vendor support over here. That means that centralized support and billing from the Azure Stack or Microsoft Azure. And if you want the expertise to accelerate, we can help you to in designing, in implementing, in training, and optionally it can be operated by you or operated by the HP themselves as well. Then we have a composable infrastructure, that is the unique infrastructure that is of its own kind, that is based on the HPE Synergy, the Blade solution from the HPE side, that would give you a scale out hybrid cloud environment, and a composable IT, that is like that would give you an automation, AI operations, and multi cloud management. All this solution is available on a consumption based. Active capacity management is also available as an option for you. We also provide database as a service. It's a like a very much hot running solution nowadays, where we provide the hardware based on the DL380s, and we can also provide a database of your choice. Can be Oracle, can be Microsoft SQL, or any other open database environments. Everything is available as a consumption based offering. If we talk about SAP HANA, we are having certified equipment from the SAP, and we are working in many of the SAP deployments. More than 50% deployments of SAP are from the HPE side only. So we can provide you an industry leading in-memory databases on based on the cloud-like economics. That means that you will be having pay-per-use experience for the complete SAP HANA deployments. Then we have worry-free backups. Obviously, we can provide you a backup solution for the secondary data centers, or for the secondary workloads, or for the DR sides. We have HPE 3-par and or the store ones, completely virtualized, or the physical, or you want backup on cloud. So we have all the backup solutions available. Everything is available on pay per use consumption based for the complete solution. It can be operated by the partner, by the HPE, on your terms. So the point is, the summary over here is that we have provided the majority of the objectives of which customer needs. That is how we are getting the most of this current era, which is known as the hybrid cloud era now, because many of the customers are distributing their workloads among multiple clouds and on premises, and also this is the approach where you can leverage your this particular hybrid cloud environment. That would give you a faster value, that would give you simplified IT, that would give you cloud like economics and a proper control. That is like this is a summary which by IDC, by the research by IDC, says that by 65% of the organization have deployed the IT projects shorter. That means that the deployment cycle has been reduced by 65%, less time to spend on keeping the lights on by 44%, and they have massively saved on the capex by eliminating of over provisioning by 30%, and 40% increase in the team of productivity by reducing the support load from the IT. So this is how we are working, and this is the approach, and this is the way where we are going now. So this was the complete portfolio from the HPE GreenLake perspective, and I hope that this short presentation was informative for you. And I would be opening the question and answer sessions, so you can obviously write up your questions, or reach to me directly, or write any of the questions in the chat box. This is my email address, so feel free to reach to me. And obviously, we will be more convenient to help you out or to assist you how we can move further in this.